Well, how can you make sure that you are raising your children to have a healthy, diverse view on people of different races, ethnicities, and backgrounds? Dr. Debbie Gilboa is with us to talk about it. Welcome, Dr. G.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. This is a good topic.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a hot topic, and the first question is highly debated. Is prejudice learned, or are you born with it as a kid?
Isn't there this myth that, and okay, I set myself up, right? Isn't this idea that kids are born open-minded, they play together, they're blind to differences, and so the only way kids would learn prejudice is if their parents have prejudice?
Right.
I grew up believing that. So the research doesn't bear that out. It's not about prejudice. It's about fear of difference, fear of change, fear of someone strange. We want our babies to have stranger anxiety. That stranger danger feeling that your 6-month-old, 9-month-old won't go to somebody new. They maybe won't even go to your mom if she isn't with them every day. Once they get to that age, they only want to be with who's familiar to them. That protects them so they don't crawl off with someone you've never met in some other tribe, right? It's always been like that. Some kids then get really adventurous and they're always up for something new. But some kids only want to be with people they know, people who look like them. Anything new or different is scary to them. The same kids who might be picky eaters might have this sense like, oh, I'm uncomfortable there, that's something new. And then all of a sudden a parent who may be genuinely very open-minded is thinking, oh my gosh, I'm raising a kid who's afraid of people with a different skin color, who stares at somebody with some kind of physical disability and makes some kind of comment that sounds like they're really bigoted in some way. This is horrifying. I get questions about this on my website all the time.
So it's interesting, though, that you say that, because as far as words go, kids obviously learn words and hateful words from either other kids on the playground or their parents. But you say it is also innate, so it could be a little bit of both, couldn't it?
Xenophobia, the fear of something different, is normal for little kids. So we have to be really intentional as parents to help them, just like we try and help them try new foods. We have to help them get comfortable in new situations with new people, and we'll make them healthier if we can do that.
Right. How are you defining the word racist when you use it?
I actually think that racist says specifically your skin color freaks me out for some reason, but I think really what we're talking about is bigotry. We're talking about anything that makes you biased against somebody because of what they are, not who they are.
So you're saying bigotry isn't innate, learned. You could possibly be innate. But at what point can a child learn from the people around them to be racist? It
can be learned. It can be learned. For certain, it can. You take on your parents' views of the world for the most part, until you become a teenager, and then you pick certain ones to push back against. But in general, you can learn it for sure. But my point is, even if we are genuinely, as adults, trying to be very open-minded, going about our lives, trying to learn about people who are new and different, not make judgments based on what people are, rather who they are, our kids have to learn to do that. It's not just their blank canvases, and as long as we're open-minded, they'll be open-minded. We have to teach them to be open-minded.
At what age can a kid comprehend this?
They start to learn the behaviors, just like you start teaching them to try new foods when they're really, really little. I think that attitude follows behavior, so that's why I always talk about how our kids can behave. And so when we say, if your child comes up to you and sidles over because there's somebody who looks real different coming into the room, you can talk to them and be like, what do you notice? What are you feeling? Does that change anything? One of the things as a doctor I love to talk to my kids about is that the colors in the insides of our bodies are all the same.
Right. Well, give us some concrete examples of things parents can do to have these teaching moments.
Okay, so for preschoolers, talking about differences and getting our kids into diverse situations. This is probably the hardest thing, but you will drop all your prejudices, good and bad, that you have about somebody if you get to know an actual person. And so playing or going to school or being on a playground or visiting or belonging to a house of worship that has people who are in some way different than you, that really helps. We also have to walk that ourselves and have friends who look different, pray differently, speak differently, come from a different place, have different beliefs than we do, so that our kids can see diversity isn't just for kids.
Right.
It's for grown-ups too.
Absolutely. Dr. G, thank you so much for sharing, and always for the insight. And talking about such an important topic. Be sure you check out AskDoctor.org. .com? AskDrG.com for more parenting advice, and pick up our books on the 3 R's of parenting. All right? We'll be right back.